Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Tuesday here. And of course, let's go up to Queensland in particular. We're heading to the Gold Coast and speak with the Labrador Tigers women's football team. On the weekend, unfortunately, they had a loss on the weekend, but they're hoping to bounce back against the Redbacks this weekend. And of course, we've got three very special guests joining us right now to tell us a bit about prior to their training tonight. Thanks, all three, for joining us.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
No worries. Well, I'll get each of you to introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about last week's game.
Yeah, look, I'll jump in first. So my name's Jameson Taylor. I'm the senior women's coach at Labrador here in what is our first season with our women's side. So it's been very exciting to be part of that, getting it up and running and off the ground. The match on the weekend took us to the halfway point of the season. So that was the completion of round 8 of a 16-round season. And so at that point, we've gotten to 3 wins, 4 losses, which I think if anyone would have said that to us at the beginning of the year, absolutely, that's a good outcome. So for a new team, we're pretty pleased to be in that position. Unfortunately, as you indicated at the beginning, we went down to Lee on Saturday night out the back here, but the girls played really well on the night. They're up against a good opposition, a team that had played in the grand final last year in the league that they were in. So the girls competed really hard. We just missed a few opportunities when we had some chances early in the game, but if we take advantage of those next time in a similar sort of matchup, it might be a different result.
Yeah. I'm Erin Murphy. I'm one of the vice captains for the team. Yeah, just like Gemmo said, I think it was a tough game, but I think we all did really well. It was unfortunate to get the loss, but just a few uncharacteristic errors and things that unfortunately didn't go our way sort of resulted in the scoreboard. But yeah, I think all in all, it was a good game, and we improved a lot since the first time we versed them in round 1, so that was good.
Yeah. I'm Jen Fielding, co-captain. I think we were prepared for a pretty good matchup, and we got that. I think we came and we played a good game, but it just wasn't enough.
And you've got to realise in this league, we're one of 5 teams that are coming in as new teams in this season. We're the highest ranked at the halfway point of those 5 teams. The 5 teams that sit above us on the table have all come from different leagues where they've played together for a number of years leading into this. So it's a pretty exciting phase of where we're at with our women's program, and that's sort of where it is. You know, when we're playing teams like we did on Saturday, they've got the benefit of having a little bit more experience than what we do.
Obviously, last week you took on the grand finalists from the Div 2 South last year. This week you got the team that won it against them in last year's final of course, in Redbacks. I guess how he's going to approach that game, and what did you learn from the Lee game to hopefully implement against the Redbacks, who they beat in the grand final last year?
I think we've got to come out with a bit more aggression in the first few minutes of the game. I don't think they're going to shy away from that, so we can't. And I think just being able to adapt on the run, take what we've learned at training, but know when to use it. And I think that will put us in a good position for a good competition.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, if you see the development of this group from round 1 through to round 8, as it was last weekend, there's improvement each week. I would just be hopeful that will continue, and I think that it will continue going into this match. But even for the later rounds of the season, I think we'll be on that sort of upward trend for the remainder of the season. And it's just a matter of continuing that this week, learn some lessons from some of the previous games, and just apply some of that stuff and some of the stuff that we'll do out of training this week when we get out there against Jimboomba on Saturday.
You mentioned before, you are the highest seed in regards to the newcomers into the competition. 3 and 4 at the moment, still looking pretty good around as you mentioned, the halfway stage of the year. I guess, are you reasonably happy where you are at the moment, knowing that there's still that chance of making the finals in your first year?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think we've done incredibly well for a new team. A lot of us haven't played footy before, so we're just stoked to be playing. Not even about finals for us, really, but that'd be really rewarding.
There's been no expectations put on this group around wins and loss or making finals or anything like that. Certainly that hasn't been the focus in the first year, but if the season was to stop now, we would be in that final slot. So if we can continue with a similar sort of form through the end of the year, we have to be in with a chance. That's just reality at the moment. But it's certainly not a focus of ours, and it hasn't been to this point. It's more around making getting the girls together and enjoying the footy and having fun and making new relationships with each other and that sort of stuff. That's been the real focus for us to this point.
I know the whole team's doing a fantastic job at the moment, but is there a couple of players we should watch out for the future?
We're all a bit old. I don't know, Gemmo. Well, you watch us.
There's some pretty decent players that are in our side. If you're talking about, it's an older sort of profile in terms of the age group, but there's a couple of younger ones like Montana that might be one to keep an eye on. So one of our under 17s girls, Montana Whitecross, she's been around this sort of program as we've been setting it up for the last 2 years. Her parents are both on the committee with myself and a couple of other people, and she's been quite involved in helping get it up off the ground, and she's playing both under 17s and seniors this year. So she might be one to keep an eye on going forward. She's out at the moment with a broken hand, but she's been one of our better players in the games that she has played earlier on in the season at senior level, and equally when she plays her under 17s games, she's a standout there as well. So she might be one to keep an eye on. Who else could we go with out of the older brigade? You want to throw anyone under the bus on the radio?
We've got a few weapons, but I don't know if they're moving in that direction.
We've got weapons that are at the end of their careers.
we've got some great players that are suited for this sort of level at the moment. So I think it's not really useful to say keep an eye on this player who's 30 and it might be doing well here, but probably that's about where it'll get to for that sort of player. That's just where we're at the moment. We've got some of those under 17s coming through. We've got a few academy kids from the Suns that play in our under 17 squad, so might be worth keeping an eye on some of those going forward.
But I think that's what we're trying to build here really is just create a good culture for the younger kids to come and start footy, and hopefully by the time they get to our age group they'll be doing something pretty cool.
And we're trying to create those pathways between the junior club and the senior club. So we'll go out there tonight, and for part of training, we'll train with the under 17s and the seniors at the same time, just to build those relationships between the juniors and the seniors, so that when the youngsters do get their opportunity to play at senior level, they're familiar with the girls and that sort of stuff. So it's just about building that sort of thing as we go along as well.
Just mentioned about Montana just a moment ago. Are you expecting to have her back at all this season?
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope so.
I think we'd love to have her back this week if we could. She provides a lot of value, and it's funny to say that someone who's a 17-year-old provides leadership for your senior women's team, but because we have so much footy inexperience within our group, we have a lot of sporting experience amongst our players, but in terms of footy experience, not so much. She provides actually quite a bit of leadership out on the field for the senior players. So we'd love to have her back as soon as possible. I think she's probably 2 or 3 weeks away still. At least with that, but we do expect to see her back out there before the end of the season. Absolutely.
You mentioned back, obviously you're going to go out there and obviously train with the obviously for a little bit with the 17s. How they're travelling this year, Jameson?
They're I think down in the bottom 2 or 3 on the table in their competition. I think it's not been a particularly strong season for them, but it's more about building the program for us here rather than results at the moment, just getting players interested, involved, aware of what we're doing, that sort of stuff. So the fact that we're getting that season away for those girls, we had an under 17s team last year that we had to pull out of the competition when COVID came, and players said that they had other priorities in life and that sort of stuff. So it's exciting for us just to have the team playing games this year. And putting them out there each week in the Labrador jumper.
How did all 3 get involved in footy, and why did you choose it?
I've been involved in footy pretty much all my life. This is my junior club, so I was here playing footy as an under 9, under 10 player, right through to playing some senior games here, when I was younger, and then moved interstate overseas. But, I always had that connection with this particular club. I played also for North Shore in Sydney in the league there. And so for me, it was just a natural sort of link to come back to this club and just help out in some way opportunity came up to be involved with the women's program, and I jumped at that. I've been coaching as well at Coolangatta in the state league, so I brought some experience into the coaching role, not just my link to the club from having played here previously, but I also brought some level of experience to the coaching side of things, having spent the last 2 seasons now at Coolangatta under Nicole Graves there, the head coach. So she's a pretty well-known female footy figure. So having had the opportunity to learn under her has been pretty invaluable for me. And just to bring that back to these girls, or some of that, with a few of my own ideas and whatever else is pretty good, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's all right. He goes all right.
For myself, I did a whole bunch of different sports, mostly team sports, throughout my youth, and a little bit of rugby league in my adulthood. But in terms of AFL, just 1 year in high school was the first year they did in the school comp, which was pretty exciting for the girls. But that was my only experience with it. Just living locally, saw it on Facebook, I think, and thought, let's give it a go. And just kept coming back after that.
I think my story is pretty similar. I grew up playing lots of sports, always team sports, always sports with a ball. Played at rugby league as well with Erin a couple of years ago. Didn't go too well, obviously. I'm only little, so thought we'd give AFL a go. I played a season in, I think, 2010 with the Logan City Cobras as well. Yeah.
Now, to the players in particular, be very careful when you answer my next question. Obviously, you must tell us what position you both play on the field, and if you had a preferred position, where you'd like to convince Jameson to put you, where would that be?
Here we go.
You want to go first?
I mostly play full forward. Preferred position, head coach, probably.
It's nice.
I didn't expect that answer.
That's a good answer.
I did.
That's a good answer. I was transitioned into a team manager role or something, and we'll all be happy.
I'm happy where I am.
Oh man, how do I top that? I don't know. Where do I play?
You're all over the
I'm
place
just
a bit.
whatever. Forward line, back line. I played in defence on the weekend. I played up front the weekend before. I just tell Gemmo, put me wherever he needs me at the time. I'm pretty sweet to go anywhere.
I think with Jen, we look to probably put her behind the ball against the opponents that we think are probably going to be a little bit stronger, because she's just got good decision making and ball use skills that help us in those sort of games where we know that we might be under a little bit more pressure. So that's probably the way that works with her. Games where we think we're probably a chance to be attacking a bit more, get her forward, and she's got reasonable goal sense, I think.
Oh, that's the nicest thing he's ever said to me.
What does the sport of footy mean to both, all three of you, and especially being there at Labrador?
I think I just think we all probably have an immense passion for sport in general. I know for Jen and myself, women getting involved in sport and young girls seeing that is really important. But I would have to say, out of all of the sports that I've played myself, Aussie Rules is probably the favourite. It's so much fun to be out there. It's such a range of skills that you use, and yeah, it's been really special, I think.
I think I agree with everything Ez said. And in addition to that, I mean, playing at Labrador, I think we've just created such an awesome culture here. Everyone's, everyone loves everyone. We're a really tight bunch of girls. So out of all the teams I've played on, this is the closest. This is the the best culture. It's really, everyone's so supportive and fun. It's just fun. It's good.
Yeah. And that's really pleasing as a coach, and someone who's been involved in sort of setting this up before the players turned up. There was a bit of work that went behind the scenes, getting licenses from AFL Queensland and whatever else. But when you're setting those sort of things up, you're sort of setting them up for imaginary people that are going to turn up one day. You know that these people will turn up, but now we actually have them here, and it's really pleasing to hear what these two have both just said. But it's consistent with the environment that we've got down there. We've got a group of girls and myself as a coach that everyone's getting on really well with one another. It's a tight-knit group. The culture's really good. Everyone's happy to be here, likes each other's company, really supportive. And that's something that we want to build and create, not just for the players this year, but for the long term of the women's program here. Whether I'm still around, whether these girls are still around, who knows? But there'll be people that will come into this program down the track, and we want to have the foundation really good so that those people can really enjoy it and it can be as special for them as it is for us.
Now we'll finish off with this last three questions. The first one is, when's your training nights, and whereabouts is your home ground for anyone that should get involved in the sport of footy down there on the North Gold Coast?
Yeah, come on down. If anyone's nearby now, we're about to go out and train. It's not a bad night. Tuesday, Thursday, 6 till 7:30 is what we will do normally. Every now and then we'll do something a little bit different. Like we had Sally Riley, the AFLW player from Adelaide, and the Gold Coast Suns came in here and had a chat to the girls last week. So we sort of didn't go out and train in the cold that night. We had a chat with Sal, and that was well received, I think. So we do little things like that to sort of break things up a little bit. But typically it's 6 till 7:30 Tuesday, Thursday for anyone who wants to come down. Cook Murphy Oval, Ashton Street, Labrador. It's a little bit hidden away, but that's the address, so you should be able to find it.
Yeah. And we'll finish up with these last two lighthearted questions, which is, who had the most embarrassing moments on the field this season, and what was it?
Gainsbound, sure.
yeah. On the field, that'd be.
On the field,
One of the weapons we were talking about. Her name's Jane, and it's been a bit of a mission of hers to get a good bounce out on the field. She's like lightning quick. So if anyone's going to do it, it will be her, because she's usually just outrunning everyone.
And just to put it in context, I think in all of the games this season, we've seen 0 opposition bounces. And I'll let Erin finish the story, but there's not a lot of bouncing that goes on in this league. So just carry on.
No, there's not much bouncing. I mean, I haven't really noticed any.
That last game, there was a few. Actually.
From our team.
Yeah, but she gives it a go. She's made her mission. She spends a couple minutes before training and after training practicing. And I think the first time we really saw her give it a go out on the field was after a fair bit of rain, so it didn't end well.
The reason it didn't end well, but it was quite entertaining, because Jane and I and a couple of others had stayed back on the Thursday night prior to that game, and we were just like going through it in a pretty lighthearted way at the end of training, just sort of how do you bounce and this and that. It's not something that we'd really focused on all that much from a coaching perspective or in training or anything, but someone asked, so you're sort of just demonstrating and going through it a little bit. And we spent 5 or 10 minutes after training just, showing the girls that were there, how to do it and what it's all about. And Jane was really enthusiastic about it. She's running around, practice. And then she's like, all right, I reckon I've got this. So when we get the chance on Saturday, if I get the chance, I'm going to do it. I was like, yeah, go and do it. That's fine. And then the game came, but I'd never mentioned to her at training that night that you can't bounce in the wet. So I have to take ownership of that, because she ran along and she sure enough went for the bounce in the wet, and it didn't come bouncing back for her. But now she knows.
I think it's more a reflection of you.
Yeah, I think so.
Tell her. That one's on Gemma.
I'll own that. I'll wear
that. But she hasn't given up.
She hasn't given up.
No, she got a bounce on the weekend.
She got a bounce in on the weekend before. So now it's going to become a real weapon for her. So she'll start using that as an attacking. And it's just exciting to see someone, even though that's stuffed up for her in that first game, that she persevered and she keeps doing it. Now it's like coming off for her during the games, and that's really exciting as a coach to see that she didn't just throw it away when it didn't work the first time. She keeps at it, and now it's starting to pay off for her. So that's really pleasing.
And it's exciting as players as well, because we know she can go right from the defensive line through to the forward line without being touched because of her speed. It's good to see.
Who's the comedian, the best singer, and the best dancer on the team?
This is good. I'll probably me for all of them.
Camille's pretty funny.
Emma's pretty funny.
Emma's
pretty funny.
She's
got to be Emma.
It's got to be Emma.
She's got a good sense of humour. Dancing and singing, we haven't done too much.
We don't do too much dancing and singing. We're a footy team, so
we
do a lot of
No, we do a bit of singing. I don't know.
I don't think anyone's really emerged. But well, you
No.
go back, only in the team songs. There's probably someone like Izzy chimes into the
yeah,
team
Izzy.
song or
Yeah.
someone like that.
Whether we'd call it singing or yelling, I'm not
It's more
quite
screaming,
sure.
but
Yeah.
Dancing. Ooh.
Dance.
None of us, I'm sure.
yeah.
No,
I
wouldn't be
can do
any
it.
of us. But
Yeah,
Emma's pretty
no.
funny. She after our first home game, she let me sort of cut a full-blown mullet on her hair, so that was pretty good. It was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
We've still got the old hair on our balcony, actually.
Yeah,
Terms of haircuts.
Jamo let us cut a bit of a mohawk and a moustache on him too, so that was good fun.
Well, all three, thank you so much for getting up your time. Obviously, now we're cutting to your training time as well. Best of luck this weekend against Jimboomba, and let's hope you can knock off the reigning South Conference champions in Jimboomba on their home ground this weekend.
Yeah, even better.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks for the kind words, Will, and thanks for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
No worries. Of course, you want to get down there and support the Tigers against the Redbacks this weekend. We'll put all the details up on how you can go about going down there and support the team this Saturday there at Jimboomba. There's more on the Smash Sport show right after this. Don't go away here on the Tuesday edition.